How does being brilliant relate to this idea of almost being a non-person, being the person that nobody discusses? Everybody focuses on the work that you've done rather than the person that's done the work. The person that's done the work stays in the background. There was a football match played last night in Madrid which shocked the world. It was played in the Bernabeu Stadium. Real Madrid against Manchester City, and City were the favourites to win, and Madrid turned them over. And I spent quite a lot of the day today watching the highlights and watching the interviews, and in all of the coverage I've seen, there's one person that's been missing, and that is the man himself, Carlo Ancelotti, which got me wondering, what is so special about Carlo? So when I see a game like this, I tend to watch a lot of the post-match interviews with professionals and journalists, and I'm going to link a couple of those interviews down below. And one of them even talks, the title of the interview is, how good is Ancelotti as a manager? They don't talk about Ancelotti. The other interview with Peter Schmeichel, who was the goalkeeper for Manchester United, he cannot understand how Madrid won that game when they talk about magic and the players, and nobody talks about Ancelotti. So the reason that I decided to make this video is because Ancelotti is a very special man, and if you look at the title of this, or you look at the pictures, that he has won 5 championships, football championships, with 5 different teams, and that is completely unheard of. How does being brilliant relate to this idea of almost being a non-person, being the person that nobody discusses? Everybody focuses on the work that you've done rather than the person that's done the work. The person that's done the work stays in the background. Even when he's interviewed, he's completely calm. He's almost emotionless. It's as if he has no attachment to outcome whatsoever. So I know from having been a teacher that you can have a class who will behave in one way for one particular teacher, and you'll have a class who will behave completely differently for another teacher. So what actually is the difference? Well, it's the culture that the teacher creates. It's what they communicate without really speaking about their expectations to that class. Now, if you look at the key players, some of the most important players for Real Madrid, people like Benzema and Modric, these guys are all well over 30. Modric is 36, Benzema's 34, and yet at certain key moments of these games, these guys are coming out of the shadows and performing at their highest, and there's obviously something that Ancelotti is doing with these players. There is obviously some belief in themselves that he is giving those players that allows them to really focus on not competing with younger players to do the same thing that they're doing, to run as fast as they can, but actually really focusing on what specifically is it about my game that other people can't reproduce. So with Modric, for example, his passing is sublime. With Benzema, his positioning and goal scoring abilities are sublime, and it doesn't matter how old they are, up to a certain age, they're still going to be able to perform. Here's Lao Tzu on leadership. With regards to leadership, Lao Tzu emphasized non-action, softness, humility, calmness, and the elimination of desire. Furthermore, in his Art of Employment, Lao Tzu insisted that leaders must overcome their personal likes and desires in relation to individuals to ensure the full utilization of their potential. And there I see a parallel again from my work as a teacher. Sometimes your best lessons are the ones where you relinquish control and you actually allow the children to express themselves, to work unhindered, and you simply provide the environment for them to do that, and they will shine. Finally, perhaps for Ancelotti, the most important point is non-identification with winning. Setting a target for yourself and being unconcerned as to whether you actually reach that target or not, which frees you up. If you're not worrying about the outcome, it frees you up to actually be creative in the moment, and you're more likely to produce that outcome eventually. So there are certain superstar football managers who do very well at a particular club and maybe who are rather egotistical. And I think we know some managers who allow their egos to get in the way. But what seems to be working for Ancelotti in his career has been this lack of emotional attachment and just the ability to really focus in on the key skills of individual players and allow them to flourish.